Hi, my name is Mick and welcome to my mid-year book tag. I'll be doing the main book tag questions and then also Bestie Katie added a few to the end, which I will be answering as well because I just love to yap. I love to answer questions and give people information about myself they have not requested. So I have read 44 books so far this year and I'm very excited to talk about them, but I am on a time crunch, so I'm gonna try and do this kind of rapid fire style. Famous last words for me. Anyway, first things first, I actually have the same answer for question number 1 and question number 2. I'm gonna try and not just like talk about the same books over and over again, but it was so interesting like going through my Goodreads and looking at the books that I have given 5 stars so far this year and kind of realizing that they're a little bit few and far between in terms of the ones that have stuck with me as like true 5 stars. So that being said, in terms of the answer for best book you've read so far this year and best sequel you've read so far this year, the answer to both is Us Against You by Fredrik Backman. I'm a newly minted Fredrik Backman stan. I've now read 3 of his books and I love him. I love his style. I love the Beartown trilogy specifically. This is the second book in the Beartown trilogy. Basically takes place in a small town in Sweden. Basically runs on hockey. But this series is not about hockey. This series is about people. It's about relationships. It's about trauma. It's about so much more than hockey, and it's done so incredibly well. Like, Fredrik Backman is such an incredible author. I read the first book in this trilogy as the last book I read of 2023. I read this one, I think, around February. They have just stuck with me. Like, this is a true 5-star read. I think this series is going to end up being a true 5-star, 6-star series. It's going to be one that I revisit for the rest of my life. I just love it so much. I feel like Fredrik Backman is one of those authors that might not work for everyone, but man, does he work for me. And this sequel truly deepened my understanding for and love for every single character in this book. It made me cry. It made me it made me feel a lot of things. And when a book can really do that, that is when it's like top tier. You know? So, best book of 2024 and best sequel of 2024 so far. Book number 1. Question number 3 is a new release you haven't read yet but want to. Easily a novel love story by Ashley Poston. I bought that as soon as it came out. Like, I actually pre-ordered it, which I haven't done in such a long time, like pre-ordering a book, because usually I want to just be able to go and physically pick it up. But I wanted access to this book as soon as it was released to the public, and then for some reason I've gotten it and it's just sitting on my cart. I've been hearing a few mixed reviews, but the thing is, I think I'll really enjoy myself regardless because I know I love her writing style. Even if the story doesn't necessarily hit as hard as I was hoping it was going to based on the way people are reviewing it, I'm still so excited. She's an auto-buy author for me, and this one is magical realism. Girl stumbles into the world of her favorite romance novel and falls in love with someone there. So yeah. Okay, question number 5, we have biggest surprise, and I actually have 2 answers for this. The first one is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I was not expecting to enjoy this as much as I did. Basically, this is like a werewolf vampire romance. It is more of a romance with like a supernatural subplot going on. I ate it up. I read it so fast. I was giggling. I was having a great time. Like, is it the most high art perfect piece of literature to ever exist? No. But did I have literally so much fun when I was reading it? Yes. Like, if you ever had like a werewolf paranormal romance Wattpad phase, I feel like you would eat this up. And if you haven't read it yet, why haven't you? This is only my second Ali Hazelwood book and I had such a great time and I'm really glad that I read it. So that was a huge surprise to me. And then secondly, I read this one actually last month in a reading vlog. It's Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This one was a huge surprise to me because I was not expecting to enjoy it as much as I did because of the format. It's written like a dossier. It's a young adult dystopian science fiction situation, and I was shocked the longer I read it how much it felt like The Maze Runner in terms of like dark vibes. I just was not expecting that at all. I wasn't expecting anything crazy from this. I went in with like the lowest of expectations and ended up really enjoying myself and knowing for a fact that I'm going to read books 2 and 3 in the series. So definitely a huge surprise. Definitely glad that I picked this one up. And I would recommend giving it a try if you're looking for like young adult dystopian something to like scratch that itch. Yeah. Favorite new author, I actually have 2. First of all, I have Olivia Blake. I have read Alone with You in the Ether and One for My Enemy by her, both this year. I just love her writing style. It's one of those things where she's very flowery, kind of overly descriptive, almost like John Green-esque is the way that I think about it. Like adult John Green, basically. And I know that's not everyone's thing, and I know most people can't get away with it. Like a lot of times when I'm reading something like that, it's actually kind of bothering me. Something about her style and like the way that she puts words together really truly works for me. Like, it's so interesting because I feel like even a couple years ago it wouldn't have, but like since I started reading her stuff this year, just like where I'm at in life and what I'm interested in and all that kind of stuff, it just works for me right now. And I've had such a good time exploring her writing. One for My Enemy was definitely not as strong like narratively as I wanted it to be, but I still loved the writing. So Ollie Blake, I will be continuing to read more from her. I love her style. And then also Ali Hazelwood. I've read 2 Ali Hazelwood books this year. They're just so fun. She's so good at the cute, quirky, like obsessed male character, like great tension, interesting plots, like the premise for Love Theoretically, which is the other book of hers that I read this year. Very interesting setup. Her writing just makes her books so fun, so bingeable, so fast paced, and I will be continuing to read her back catalog. Question number 7, newest fictional crush. I feel like I have heard this answer to this question from nearly everybody whose mid-year book tag I have watched, but that is Miles from Funny Story by Emily Henry. This is not even like my top Emily Henry book. However, the entire time I was reading this, in my head, Miles was like a weird combination of Dylan O'Brien and Logan Lerman, 2 of my longest time celebrity crushes. So obviously he was doing something right. Obviously he was doing something right. In this book, Miles is such like an acts of service, like kind-hearted, putting other people before him kind of thing. He's also flirty. He's just so sweet. I just loved him a lot. Okay, I loved him a lot. And literally as we speak, Miss Emily Henry is writing the screenplay for this, and if she can manage to get one or both of those men, Dylan O'Brien or Logan Lerman, attached to this, y'all will never hear the end of me. You will never hear the end of me, and that's all I have to say on that. Question number 8 is book that made you cry. So first up we have Us Against You, which I've already done my spiel about this, but literally teared up every other paragraph as I was reading this. Bachman is just a master of socking you in the gut over and over again. I feel like gut punching is like the phrase that I use the most to describe his writing, and it's true. I will stand by that. So Us Against You, obviously. And then the other one is actually The House on the Cerulean Sea, but this one was happy tears. This one was me crying at the end because I just love found family. I love like a heartwarming queer story. I love like coming of age at any age, and this definitely falls into that category. So was definitely crying, like crying at the end of this. Question number 9, we have book that made you happy, which is actually also a Frederick Bachman book, and that is Anxious People. Read this pretty recently, loved it. Like I really wasn't sure because I'd heard a lot of people say that Frederick Bachman's other work outside of the Beartown trilogy might not be for everybody that loved the Beartown trilogy, so I was a little bit nervous, I'm not gonna lie. Loved it. Not only did I cry, like teared up numerous times, tears escaping from my eyes, I was just smiling, like smiling my way through this. I just love the way his writing makes all of his characters so human and all of his stories so human. So when you're reading them, you feel like you are seeing yourself reflected, you're seeing people you know reflected, you're seeing things you know about the world put into different contexts that make them so much more powerful. And this one was just very, very sweet in terms of empathy and I guess also found family. I don't know, it's so crazy that this standalone novel, which is literally about a failed bank robbery where the bank robber runs across the street and takes like a group of people that are viewing an apartment hostage, made me weep and made me smile to where my cheeks were hurting. That's crazy. If you can't tell, I love Frederick Bachman. Question number 10 is most beautiful book you've bought or received so far this year. I bought this for myself. Harper Muse Classics painted edition of The Secret Garden. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Gold foiled edges. Also literally gorgeous. I want every single book in this collection. I also want every single classic to have an edition in this series so I can buy them all and just have a shelf on my bookshelf dedicated to the works of art that are these covered. I want them to do a Pride and Prejudice one so bad. I think right now they just have Persuasion, which is a Jane Austen novel I want to read, but just, are you kidding? It's really, really pretty. This is like my favorite thing to have displayed on my bookshelves. It's just gorgeous. It's really pretty. Question 11, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? Well, first of all, I do have a 24 in 2024 list that I am less than halfway done with, and we are almost done with the 7th month of the year. Basically every book that's still on there I am intimidated by in one way or another, including A Little Life, All the Light We Cannot See, Poppy War. There's a lot of books on there that I am just intimidated by. Like I know I'll probably end up liking them so much. Like the reason I put these books on this list is I thought there was a huge chance they would be 5-star, 6-star reads for me. I just think some of them are a little bit more intimidating than others. Obviously obviously considering I've read, I think I've read 11 of them so far, something like that. So definitely every book on that list. I want to read a Kristen Hanna book. I have Firefly Lane actually on my monthly TBR for this month, and I'm really gonna try and get to it because she's one of those authors that I have heard about for a really long time, and I feel like she's recently been gaining traction in the booktube space. So I just feel like I want to be part of the conversation, you know, like I want to know. I also want to know how I feel about her. I'm just really curious. So definitely a Kristen Hanna book. And then also I want to read The Winners, which is the third book in the Beartown trilogy. I'm waiting until the winter. I'm waiting until the winter because I feel like these books hit the best when it's cold, but I know it will destroy me. I do want to get to it, so yeah. Okay, and then Katie's question. Question number 1, we have books do you want to reread this year? I've already said this multiple times, but I want to reread all of Emily Henry's books to figure out my official ranking, how I feel about them, because Beach Read and People We Meet on Vacation specifically, I read so long ago that I need to revisit them and see how now me feels about them, having read so many other things at this point. I'm really excited about it too. Like, it's not like a task that I'm dreading. I'm like wanting to reread her stuff, so very excited about that. Okay, next question is books you've been putting off. I actually have 3 that are like top of mind. Like, obviously there's a lot of books, okay, that I've been putting off. A lot of books I always choose easier, no brain cell reads over. However, there are 3 that are like booktube, book talk favorites that I am really scared to pick up because I think there's a chance that for at least 2 of them, I'm not gonna like them as much as everybody else does. And that is just very scary to think that you might have a negative opinion of something that is so widely loved. So I have avoided them thus far, and that is Powerless, Fourth Wing, and Divine Rivals. Maybe I'll do a reading vlog of all 3 in the fall. Who knows? Next we have a book you enjoyed with mixed reviews. I actually have 2 answers for this. The first one is All the Missing Girls by Megan Miranda. I've had this book for so long. I think it was a gift in high school. Had no interest in reading this, was putting it off, was like, this is just gonna be like a very mid, unimpressive thriller. I actually ate it up. Like, I had so much fun while I was reading it. I was not expecting to, but I loved the atmosphere. I loved the writing. I loved the structure. It's told backwards. Always so interesting when you pick up a book that's just been living in your possession and then realize it's something that you actually really enjoy. Like, that's crazy. And then the other one was Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. And I just feel like John Green books in general, they have mixed reviews because he is definitely a very specific writer and the way he characterizes his characters is very specific, but something about it scratches an itch in my brain. Is it the best writing in the world? No. Is this the best story in the world? No. But something about it, I just had this like feeling in my chest when I finished it, to the point where I still think about it sometimes. I don't know. He's just one of those authors that sometimes his writing just lodges itself in your brain in an unexpected way, at least for me. I know he's not everybody's cup of tea, but like reading this kind of like reminded me, oh, like wait, I do like his writing. Even if it's not like my favorite thing in the whole world, I like it, which is just very interesting because I know a lot of people don't. So Turtles All the Way Down, I actually rather enjoyed. It was definitely short, a bit underdeveloped in my opinion, but I think there's a decent amount of good stuff in here, so yeah. Okay, next. Series you want to finish before the end of the year. There's quite a few. We have Beartown, like I said, ACOTAR. I've only read ACOTAR and A Court of Mist and Fury, and I need to read the last 3 in the series before the next book comes out. I know I have time, but I would rather finish it this year because I would actually really like to read Throne of Glass at some point in the near future rather than putting it off for a really long time. And I don't want to do that until I finished ACOTAR. I need to read Crooked Kingdom, which is the second book in the Six of Crows duology. I need to read, what is it called? The last book in the Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy, As Good as Dead. And then I would really like to finish The Naturals and Truly Devious. So basically 3 young adult thriller series that I'm really enjoying. I would like to finish in the near future. I feel like I'll probably get to them in the fall because it's like the perfect time. The next question is 5-star predictions for the rest of the year. And I have 4. One of them is The Winners by Frederick Bachman, which I feel like that's fair. Obviously I've talked about this already, but these other 3, I'm like not 100% sure, but I'm feeling kind of confident about all 3 answers. So we have A Little Life, Firefly Lane, and Ninth House. Will I be wrong about every single one? Who knows? That's part of the fun of reading. You never know how you're gonna feel about something until you're in it, obviously. Next question, do you think you'll reach your reading goal and are you going to change it? My reading goal is currently set to 60 books and I have read 44 books so far this year, so I'm 12 books ahead of schedule. I think I will definitely read 60 books this year. If anything, I might move it up to 80, but the thing is, this reading goal is so arbitrary. Like, it's literally just for fun. So I might just leave it where where it is and just see how many books I can read in the year. You know, like I don't feel like I have to like challenge myself more or move it up more, because I'm obviously reading at a faster pace than I was last year when I set this goal. So yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it, but I am confident that I will meet it. Okay, and then the last question, any new goals for the rest of the year? I actually do have one. Actually, I have two. I didn't write this other one down, but first of all, I want to be reading at a pace of 2 books per week. Right now, I'm reading roughly like 1.5 per week, but I just feel so much better the more I'm reading, like the more I'm prioritizing reading over like screen time or TV time or whatever it is. I would really like to be reading at a pace of 2 books per week. Can I get to that? It's anyone's guess. The second thing is I want to get 10 books off my physical TBR before I buy any more books. It doesn't look like it because a lot of my books are over here. I'm gonna have to buy a 3rd bookshelf in the near future because I'm running out of space already. And I have an entire book cart in my closet full to the brim. I think it has 78 unread books on it right now. That number needs to come down. That number needs to come down, and I'm really, really focused on it. So am I kind of on a book buying ban? Tentatively, yes. Maybe it starts today. Okay, anyways, that's gonna be it for today's mid-year book tag. I love doing things like this. I love having time capsules of my thoughts and feelings and opinions and like favorite things. It's just so fun. If you haven't done this already because you feel like nobody cares, I care. I want to see your mid-year book tag, so if you haven't posted this yet, please do. Also, if you have any opinions on any of the books that I talked about today, please let me know in the comments what they are, because I would love to have discussions about any one of these books. Also, just wanted to say I did this video in lieu of a June reading wrap up. I'm going to do a combined June and July reading wrap up at the end of July. Just wanted to flag that in case anyone was waiting with bated breath for my June wrap up. So sorry about that. Okay, so that's gonna be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!